I'm here today with Shelley Hancock, starting strength coach since 2010. She's been involved with Wichita Falls Athletic Club since 2008, and that's Rip's Gym to you. Shelley has taught multiple starting strength training camps as well as Olympic weightlifting camps all over the East Coast, and she is now the starting strength coach at Starting Strength Houston. Shelley, welcome to the podcast. But what I should have said is that the most important role you play is mom to this beautiful baby boy, Jameson. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's sleeping, which is a wonderful time. I enjoy sleeping times.
I agree with you. That is the best mom time. So thank you for taking your precious time and sitting down with me to
Yeah,
talk about, this journey that you've been on for, I guess it's a couple of decades now, right? If not
yeah.
more.
I sometimes forget. The other day I was saying how like I always refer to like, well, 10 years and 10 years. I think I've been saying for the last 10 years for like the last 5 or 6 years.
That's right.
We kind of lose track of just how many years it's been since being involved. I joke around about like I grew up at Rips, which I didn't necessarily grow up at Rips. I was older when I got involved, but as a human being, as a person, I
Yes.
grew up at Rips.
Yes.
Like,
I feel like that's the same for all of us. I'm 50 years old and
yeah,
I grew up at
yeah,
Rips too.
yeah. We're still growing up.
That's right.
You know,
Tell me actually, since you mentioned that, you had an extensive background as an athletic trainer and as a ballerina for, 20 years. Tell me how you went from that to barbell training. And in fact, you were in those training videos, those DVDs, the original training
hmm
videos from RIP.
yeah, the original. A lot of the newer people now probably may not have come across them because they're so outdated now. But it's wonderful. If anything, I use them as a tool to remind myself of where I started.
There's
Because
clips of them on the
yep,
YouTube
yep,
channel.
yep, there are. I sometimes forget how much of a disaster I was when I started lifting, and I have those bad days where I'm frustrated with something. I'm like, zoop, go
That's
back,
right.
and I'm like, okay,
I've actually
appreciate where
gotten
you
a lot
are.
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate where you are now. How I got started in lifting, I think growing up, my mother was a dancer. I was kind of just born into a ballet company. Also grew up with horses. Working hard and lifting things was always kind of just a part of my day. I say probably my first LP was as a kid. My dad finally stopped saddling my horse for me, and he was
Wow.
like, figure it out, or having to pick up hay bales or drag pails of water or bags of feed. So moving heavy things was always just kind of fun for me. And just working with horses, you have to be, a little bit strong. Um,
Sure.
but after, oh God, so many years of dance, when I got into college and was kind of in my departing, that life wasn't necessarily healthy mentally or physically
Hmm.
for many years. Um, and I was in school to studying to be an athletic trainer.
Hmm.
And I had a class where we had to learn how to do a power clean. And I dabbled in the gym. I'd say more exercising, like messing around the gym. But I've known Josh, my husband, since high school, and I gave him a call and I was like, "Would you teach me power clean?" Because I'm a competitive enough. I wanted to do it better than everybody else.
That's
Um,
right.
so he brought me. I met him up at Rip's gym, and I learned how to power clean. Um, that was kind of my first interaction with Rip, for the most part. He was very friendly, and
When
taught
was
me this
that?
little.
What year was that?
Um, oh gosh, let's see. At least I got a little like thing of dates down here. Oh, maybe '06 or '07,
Uh-huh.
somewhere in there. Because I took my first athletic training job in '08, so it would have been in undergrad
Mm.
during that time. And after that, I pretty much just did power cleans for like a year or two. 'Cause that's all I knew how to do,
Wow.
and they were cool. I felt kind of cool in the gym doing power cleans.
Yeah, well, you
um,
are cool. Today you're cool. If anyone's ever seen
yeah.
Shelley on her Instagram and all her Olympic weightlifting, super cool and super strong, in fact.
Yeah, but there was no blue book at the time.
Mm.
I actually got my first copy at that time of the black spiral bound, if anybody remembers that, the original like sort of starting strength book,
Wow.
um, that I unfortunately donated or loaned it to a coach years ago and never got it back because that's
Oh,
probably sitting in somebody's pile of trash that doesn't know,
all right. Well, if this
the
guy's watching that, could
value.
you please return
Yeah,
it? Please return
yeah,
it to
return.
Shelley.
Please maybe return my little book. But but I had that, and like I took my first job. I kind of tried to implement what I could, but really didn't know enough about it. And even as an athletic trainer, when I kind of made the transition later on into leaving that, was as my first job, I was head coach at a junior college, or head athletic trainer at a junior college, and I've got all these athletes. I mean, 150 athletes that I'm having to treat, and I'm following protocol as I was taught. And sometimes it worked, but a lot of time it didn't.
Mhm.
Um, Now you have coaches on your ass to get their athletes better, and I couldn't get them better sometimes, and I didn't know what to do. I'm going through all my papers, and like nothing works.
Because better
I
meant
knew they,
stronger.
yeah, and at the time I didn't know how to get them stronger. I would work with some in the gym, but I really just didn't know enough to implement it at the time, really. So around then, it was DV '08, between '08 and '09, I can't remember whenever we actually filmed the DVD. I got a call to come and be a participant in the DVD. So I was like,
Nice.
heck yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
We went and filmed the DVD, and that was really truly my first time being coached on all the lifts. And
Wow.
you could
Oh,
tell
that's
if anybody's,
interesting.
yeah, if anybody's seen the DVD, you can tell. I mean, I'm a complete disaster in it. I think back of Rip trying to coach me how to get tight under the bar.
Mhm.
I was very hypermobile, very over flexible, strong but not strong. Like I could
Mhm.
move weight like on a power clean. The power cleans in the video actually were pretty good, but as
Yeah.
far as squatting and pressing and everything, like I couldn't control my trunk. Um, and
I remember him in those videos.
mhm,
The videos are so valuable. They're so incredible. Not only
mhm,
do I just enjoy seeing some of the OG coaches there, but he's always telling you in your videos to brace your abs, brace your
yeah,
trunk. You were an overextension. You wouldn't
yeah,
know that's the ballerina in you. I
yep,
also danced. I used to be a ballerina as well. And that was always that overextension thing is hard to get out of.
yeah. And I had no clue what he's trying to get me to do. I mean, I was probably trying to flex my abs, getting tight. And since then I've worked with some clients that were that way, and ultimately just you don't fix it, you just get stronger. And
Mm-hmm.
as I got stronger, I was able to control my trunk and stay tight
Mm-hmm.
under the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And that was now, gosh, years, so many years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
And when did you decide that you were going to become a certified coach?
so I went, we did the video, and I went back and I finished my year, my contract with that school. And towards the end, I declined a renewal of the contract, moved back to Wichita Falls, and pretty much, I guess, gave myself an internship at WFAC.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much just wouldn't leave, and just annoyed Rip morning to night to
Mm-hmm.
learn.
You did your thesis on the deadlift start
Hmm.
positions, right? And
Yep.
that's for the Journal of Exercise Science.
International Journal of Exercise Science. Yep.
And people
That.
can look that up. Very
Yeah.
cool. It's cool that you got to see all of that, like, from the beginning and really learn it
Yeah.
as they were all kind of hashing it out.
Yeah. It was fun because we were around whenever Rip was. He'd be in his office, doing his whole thing, and he'd be like, "Aha!" Figured it, he'd come out and he's like, look at this, or come read this, and that's when they were writing like the starting strength book. Be
Wow.
going kind of, be like, how does this sound? And it was really, at the time I was probably too naive to even realize the experience I was getting.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, I'm like, man, that was really cool. Experience getting to be there and involved with all that and stuff, because Rip's just ripped to us. People would come by and they're like, think he's famous, and like
Yeah.
I'm big on the internet stuff, and we're like, he's just Rip. But he's amazing. He's changed so many people's lives, and he
Mm-hmm.
opened all of these opportunities. I mean, for me, I honestly don't know what I would be doing if it wasn't for this. I
Mm-hmm.
went back to school just to kind of bide some time. Um, but jobs were sparse, and in this.
Mm-hmm.
People were working out of CrossFits. I actually was doing a little bit of CrossFit then, because that was when it kind of started getting big.
Mm-hmm.
And as starting strength coaches, we were often working out of CrossFit gyms, just
Mm-hmm.
because that was where we would get access to the equipment and space, and just kind of utilize what we could there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you spent a lot of years teaching starting strength and introducing it into CrossFit communities, into communities who had never
Hmm.
experienced it, and
Hmm.
then you made this big move to Starting Strength Houston, where you now
Hmm.
work with JD. And it's really exciting. I was really excited to see that you and Josh were coming on board, because it's one of the founding gyms. So tell me what sparked your interest with that? How did you get to the point where you were like, okay, now I'm going to be coaching for the franchise gyms? What was that, decision like for you?
Pretty simple. It
Mm-hmm.
was, I have the opportunity to finally just do starting strength and work with people that all have like one main goal.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, we've coached in New York City, we've coached in North Carolina, we've been in some wonderful places, but it's always still having to do a little bit of other stuff and everything else. We're coaching starting strength, but we've got CrossFit or we've got other stuff going on. To just solely work with starting strength was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so um, starting strength has just made such an impact on my life, on Josh's life. We're very passionate about it. I mean, we would do, let's say I do it for free. I mean, we want to
Yeah.
make a living, but we enjoy helping people and it helps people. It's one
Mm-hmm.
thing that you always help somebody. They get better, they get stronger. Say when you get to coaches and we get apprentices, always my question is your why. Everybody typically has a why. Why do I
Yeah.
do this? What has starting strength done for you? And we all have, a pretty incredible story of, one way or another, regardless of where you're coming from.
Well, then
Um,
let me pose that question to you. What has starting strength done for you, Shelley?
Dug me out of a deep, dark hole of depression and body dysmorphia and um, appreciating a program for what it does. It wasn't judging me by how I looked. I mean, obviously I want to look good, but for the first time in my life, I wasn't being judged by a mirror, and how I look, I was, not being judged at all. It was,
Mhm.
and the weight on the bar became more important than the weight on the scale.
Yes.
You know,
It's a
um,
brilliant feeling, and I love seeing it in my trainees when they make that choice
mhm,
to let go of the way that they're judging themselves based on appearance exclusively, and then they start to judge
mhm,
themselves on performance. And I know that was very valuable for
mhm,
you, and that's something that you love to impart to other women. Um,
absolutely.
right, that's one of the
Yeah.
things you and I are always discussing, is how to help, not just women but new moms get through
Mhm,
training in pregnancy, get back under the bar after they've
mhm,
had a baby. And I know that's something, that's really on the forefront of what you're working on now.
mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about working with women, and you've had to come a long way. um, what is it like for you to work with women at Starting Strength Houston and now Starting Strength Katie?
I think it's just to watch women become empowered. Like I'll tell them before, you see women that have never touched a barbell. You've got ones that have come in that, we used to working hard and stuff, but it's so rewarding when you see someone who's doesn't really know what being strong is, and to get the confidence. I'll tell them, I was like, someday you'll be able to walk into any gym, go travel, whatever, go in somewhere, grab a barbell, put it in the rack and squat. And they don't even see it yet. They're like, no, they're scared to go and just get on a treadmill, in a
Right.
gym. And to see someone, go from that, or to, text you and be like, I moved a piece of furniture, I didn't need my husband, become a
Mhm.
lot more useful. I
Mhm.
remind Josh all the time how useful I am every time we move.
That's right.
So I'm like, be thankful how useful I am, that you're not, I can pick all these heavy things up with you, and I'm willing to do it and I'm happy to do it. Um,
Yes.
but that's, I
Well,
think, just to see, the changes in women, that, their personality changes, they feel better about themselves.
mm,
And then as you get stronger, those changes that you've always wanted in your body physically happen,
yes.
kind of just as
Yes.
a wonderful byproduct of it,
Hmm.
and you're not having to go spend hours and hours and hours, chasing calories and
Yeah.
everything like that happens. And they feel good, they look good,
Hmm.
and they kind of almost forget, that person they were before.
Yeah. 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 I think many of us have had very similar experience. And, not to mention that you've got to be strong to take care of a toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your pregnancy, you thought that, you had done all of this preparation as best as you could, make yourself strong, and you thought this pregnancy, was going to be no different than training, right? You continue training, making some modifications. You did find out that it didn't go the way you wanted. It wasn't quite that easy. And But fortunately, you were strong enough to recover. You tell me about, how your pregnancy went and how strength training impacted that pregnancy and your recovery.
Yeah, so I mean, as a coach, you're like, you get pregnant and you're like, I'm going to have this fit pregnancy, I mean, look, it's all over the social media, fit pregnancies and trying to, look fit and exercising and stuff, and I had this idea of that. And then when you get pregnant, you go through the, first phase of just feeling like crap and had a ton of fatigue. So my performance drastically dropped pretty quickly. But very early on towards the end of the first trimester, I experienced a prolapse of my bladder, which is a cystocele. It was graded afterwards to grade 2. I don't know what it was prior to it, but it drops into the vaginal canal. It becomes very uncomfortable. And unfortunately, that time with the growing baby inside of you, it adds additional stress onto the pelvic floor and the bladder, and it became worse. So it drastically affected my ability to train, or at least get under a load. So I had to, I did what I could, but I didn't have, that wasn't able to get under heavy squats a whole lot and train throughout the pregnancy as I would have wanted to. But fortunately, I've been training for many years, so I have enough reserves that, I had that ability to lose some and not be in as bad of a place afterwards.
Yeah.
I can't imagine where I would have been afterwards had I not trained prior to that.
Yeah, you'd have no strength to lose.
No. And I was so weak afterwards. The delivery itself was the easiest part. He was out in 3 pushes. I was at the hospital for about 3 hours before he came.
Wow.
Non-medicated, nothing, just, I had, they gave me a Motrin afterwards. And, I was like, I was so relieved to have him out of there. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
It was so wonderful. I could touch my toes again.
Yeah. Best feeling
Yeah.
you could see your feet.
Yeah. I was like, once he was out, he was good. But the prolapse, I had no sensation really at that time. I was like, well, maybe it's not so bad, but that was just because I couldn't feel down there.
Right.
I had, he tore a few places down there. I had to get stitched up and everything. And then you're like, Mom, he was born at the beginning of the COVID shutdown, like right when we had to shut our business down the day before. So having any kind of help, even with breastfeeding, there was no in-person help with all that stuff. I struggled to produce enough milk for him. So there was a lot of struggles just immediately postpartum with just, trying to figure all this stuff out as a new mom. And then trying to heal from, all the stitches and everything. And then going from being, somewhat strong to having a difficult time just getting up off the floor. I was so weak. My abdomen had, my abs had separated. I had not a massive diastasis recti, but I, had pretty good separation there that, just felt like there was like 2 pieces of my body that had been, kind of stapled together. There was just no connection to anything. But I struggled. I couldn't get off the floor holding him. I had to, set him down, roll over to my hands and knees to get up off the floor, then pick him up from there. But then even squatting down and stuff at that time, the prolapse was so severe, a lot of that stuff was pretty difficult. So it was not fun, but in time, it's gotten better. And I'm 19 months postpartum now and still recovering, but I'm able to train. It was just very slow. I did see a pelvic floor therapist just to get a better diagnosis of the issue and kind of awareness of what was contributing to the issues, that I was able to kind of come home and apply to my training.
I wanted to I wanted to backtrack for a second. Did you train at all when you were pregnant?
I did.
What are the things that you were able to do?
I still squat. I mean, the prolapse didn't get any worse than it was. I just kind of would have to go off of like sensation, how it felt. I would do lighter squats where normally I would squat, maybe in the 200s. I had to back it off to about 135. And I can't remember when the last squat at 135 was, maybe mid to late second trimester. And then from there, it was 65 to 85 pounds. I would do some light squats. Overhead stuff, benches and presses caused a lot of pain in the abdomen, just from the spreading of the abs. Like any kind of contracting of the abs was painful. But I would do some seated presses, lat pull downs,
And sometimes just little accessory work. I mean, I'd
Right.
sometimes just get on, sometimes I'd go and do a little bit of elliptical, something just to move. At the time, I got a membership at a little gym by our house that I could just go over to, just to go do something. It would sometimes just be just walking around the gym and finding some things to do. But I'd do something, and you kind of find the range of motion that you can do.
Because laying around is not an option. Laying around and doing nothing is not, no matter how you feel, it wasn't an option.
Yeah.
And what are the things, how did you get back to training? What kinds of, of course we could talk for hours on this, and maybe we will in the next podcast, but what are some of the things that you did to help yourself get back into training and to adjust to the conditions that you were recovering from?
Well, I tried starting, I should have written down this timeline. I think 6 to 8 weeks postpartum, I tried something. I realized very quickly going to the barbell that the prolapse was too severe to load myself yet. That was when I went and I had to request, actually, my OB was like, oh, it's normal, didn't really offer much help for it at the time. I went and got an appointment and requested to someone to give me better diagnosis of what I was dealing with, because I really didn't know how to handle it. And for me, it was basically more hypotonic, or you can cut this out. I was too tight. I'm very tense, contract my abs too much. Probably years of ballet of always being taught to pull in and control. Even with pregnant, I would always fight the belly. I was always contracting and pulling on it, just, until it got too big. You can't hold it. It was just this, it's natural for me to want to kind of fight the stomach sticking out. And that's just ingrained in my body and my brain. I've had to learn to just relax. As I did that, I've had to retrain breathing while I'm bracing under the bar. But I had to kind of take a step back. And from that, I would do some of the physical therapy stuff, some bridges, some quadruped stuff. I'd find when I was the bladder specifically was very affected by the position I was in. On days that it was heavier in my pelvis, I could get into a quadruped position and it would kind of flop it into where it needs to go. And Kegel type stuff, just because at first you couldn't even do a contraction. I couldn't even do a Kegel, and it took probably 4 or 5 weeks to where I could actually do a Kegel to just learn how to relax the musculature down there.
Wow.
And then from there, it was just very, very slow. Not LP. There's no adding 5 pounds to the bar every day. I think I added weight to the bar probably once a month for a while. I could bench a little bit just because I could lay on the bench. And that's pretty much just did the very basic list, start with the empty bar. It was probably 3 or 4 weeks before I could train without shaking. Literally just, my body, I was at that time, I hadn't trained probably the last 4 to 6 weeks of the pregnancy. Then you've got, 6 to 8 weeks afterwards, we're just trying to heal. And it was literally just, I would just shake uncontrollably trying, and I'd never been in that. I've never had any surgeries, never been under anesthesia. For someone, it was pretty mentally struggling just to feel so weak, so helpless kind of. And there's not a whole lot of help for it. There's not a whole lot of information when you're dealing with prolapse and diastasis recti for an athletic type person. I'm not going to just sit on the floor and do bridges for the rest of my life.
Right.
So it was just a very, very, very slow progress. And then it was just making a little bit of progress and then taking a couple of steps back. And making a little bit of progress and taking a couple of steps back. And
what kept you motivated? This is, I've sustained injuries throughout my life, and I've had to strip the bar and start with nothing and body weight squats. And I'm so grateful to have the barbell to lean on and the skill of barbell training. What kept you motivated through that type of difficult situation where you're just feeling weak, not able to train regularly? What made you keep getting under the bar?
Probably just mental health. This is something that, there's definitely some days of struggling. Also getting help, getting blood work for my hormones. I was just terribly hormonal. I mean, not hormonal as in like moody, but I did get blood work done when I just couldn't recover. There were days where I could go and actually get a little workout in, like maybe squat 65 pounds. It would take 4 or 5 days to recover. And I was like I understand recovery. I know my body. This is not just postpartum. It's like there's something else going on. I'd be sore and achy. So I got blood work done and had to go outside my doctor because she wasn't willing to treat it, but found out I had Hashimoto's, which is an inflammatory. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that out and then go back.
Yes.
Autoimmune. There we go. So I found out I had Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid disease. My thyroid was super through the roof. I was hypo at the time, which I had every single symptom. Once I got on medication for my thyroid, within 4 or 5 weeks, like I felt amazing.
Wow.
And that helped even with just the motivation. There were days where I just had no motivation to train. And obviously you're not making a lot of progress. So then that just kind of, makes it just tough. But there were days I would just go out there and, if Josh could watch the baby just to get out of the house.
Yes.
We're still in COVID shutdown. Nothing's open. I can't go anywhere. We're in a new town. I just needed the garage. I was like, we converted the whole garage into a gym. I was like, I need a space.
Yeah.
That's my space that, I can go out there and spend 20 minutes, even if it's just riding a bicycle, sitting in there and doing something, just messing around. I needed that time.
Man. It's a good thing that you spent all those years building that mental fortitude under the bar at Rip's gym too. It kept you strong for this.
Yeah, and it's not doing it's not an option. It's even from ballet. It's as a kid, it's always you don't miss.
Right.
You're sick, you still show up. You get fined. There was nothing. If you break your leg, you're still at rehearsal. You stay in a place. So it's not doing it is not an option. I've definitely learned a lot about time management. Fitting a lot of training into a very short amount of time. I don't get 3 hours to go. Play around, gag around the gym. Programming, I have to be very creative with my programming now to utilize. I don't have time to rest for 6 minutes, between sets and just hang out and stuff. I have to because he could wake up any minute. So it's definitely, get going, get moving. But just getting out there and every day, there was not a whole lot of success for days or weeks or even months at times. But now it's at 19 months postpartum. I'm not where I was before, but then I'm not who I was before, and training goals are different. I don't need to squat 350 and pull 400 pounds or anything. That's not the goal. I just want to be strong, feel good, be able to take care of my baby. I don't want to spend 3 hours out there, maybe some days. But spending time with him and having that time is more valuable than doing that, but I've now squat actually at the conference. I squat 225, which was, I never thought I would even see 200 again. I squat 200 this week or 205 for 3 sets of 3, which is the most I've done for that volume.
Congratulations.
So it's slowly coming, and it's kind of to a point where I don't like to use the word maintain, but like it's heavy enough that I can get enough work. I can create a little bit of a stress to my system. I've been able to build the pelvic floor up over time to not have symptoms. There's a lot of retraining the breathing. I got rid of my belt. There were some habits that I had that I was unaware of prior to that now, hopefully can go to help other women because they're told they can't train.
Yes.
Even the doctors will say you can't.
No, that's right. Yeah. And it just, like you said, it leaves you weak. You can't even hold your baby. You can't, raising children is such a incredible undertaking. You have to be, keeping yourself strong for it and giving yourself that time away from the baby and time to yourself. And what I love about barbell training is that it can be really almost customized to whatever phase in life that you're going through. Absolutely. So that you can really have it as a tool for life. And, we've set those PRs, we've been under heavy loads, and that was then, this is now, and that will be again. And so then we'll watch our children weight train. I watch my children weight train. It's all these different phases in life. And that's the beauty of the tool. And I know that we all have this vision for the Starting Strength Gym franchise to bring these gyms to every community so that we can deliver this tool and this life tool to our local communities. And you can now bring the experience that you have recovering from a difficult childbirth, and you can bring this experience to other women in your facility. And I know it's something you and I are discussing frequently on educating our coaches further, because like you said, there isn't much information out there. And I know that you work with apprentices regularly, and you have women come through the gym, and this is some conversation that you're having with them. Tell me a little bit about the apprentice program. You do coach development at Starting Strength Houston. And I know that I've recommended some apprentices to you guys. And I oftentimes will send an apprentice who has to get platform ready, which for people who don't know watching this, it's where you test out at a seminar at Rip's Gym on your way of becoming a starting strength coach. So I know you're working with apprentices and educating them on, working with women and working with all sorts of special populations. What's it like doing coach development for you? I don't know how you have time, but what is it like to have apprentices at the gym, and what's coach development like? What's the process there?
We love having apprentices, and that's for any coach. I guess I can go back to in the book where it says, when one teaches, two learn. Best way to make yourself better as a coach is to teach others. One, it keeps us on our feet, as we're teaching, because as you get coaching, there's little things that you don't forget necessarily, but if you hadn't opened the book in a while, you get those apprentices in, it keeps you have to keep looking back. So it's great to improve yourself by teaching others. And watch these young people come in. I say not young, it's not all of them are young. We've got people that are changing careers, that have opportunities to do something that maybe wasn't there before. Like us in the past, there wasn't a starting strength gym with an apprentice program for us. We had to create these opportunities. Like, this is an amazing opportunity for so many people to be able to do it without having to go fight and search where to go to get the experience, not having to get all the student loans and, spend all that money on the education, that you're going to get the experience you need there at the gyms. We want some people that are hungry, hungry for it. We want you to want to be there. Our greatest experiences were hanging out at the gym, after hours. You learn more. You may learn more after hours at Rips than you do during the on hours. Not everything's 100% starting strength related, but
that's right. That's where you get raised. That's where you get raised by Rip.
Exactly. We want to carry that over to everybody else. Like, we've got that experience. Josh was raised there. We had Chase here at Houston for a while. Chase was kind of growing up there. We have all this experience of kind of being around there. We want to give everybody as much of that as we can. That it's a family. You go to the gym to hang out. Instead of going to the bar on Saturday night, we're hanging out at the gym. That's just the place to go. That's just where we spend our time. And here, we go there. You don't want to go home. You have to go home. But if you're there because you want to be there, we don't have a job. I mean, it's a job, but you love what you do. You get to enjoy going and doing it and getting to help people. And having these apprentices come is wonderful, because we get to help, not only teach them how to coach all the lifts and stuff, but to try to ingrain that family environment. The joy of getting to help people. Like Josh and I, we joke that when we go home, like how was your day? How was your day? Did you see what so-and-so did? And this, like, it's, we're always talking about, we get so excited about what somebody did, or somebody, if I'm not there, Josh is like, look and see what so-and-so did today at the gym. It's amazing.
That's so great. Yeah. You take pride in your trainees' success.
Absolutely. I mean, watching them succeed is more valuable than our own success. When you take someone to a meet, and you see them, complete something for the first time in their life that they've never done. That's more rewarding, and you get more of the fuzzy feeling, watching that than you ever will for yourself.
Yes. And I've often enjoyed watching Josh at the meet with Chase, and all the sideline action between the two of them, and Josh mentoring him and cheering for him and coaching him. And of course, everyone's been following Chase's, press journey. So now Chase, he grew up in Rip's gym, and then he was mentored at Starting Strength Houston, and now he's in Starting Strength Oklahoma City, head coach at that gym. So it really shows you, the journey you can take from, being a beginner to learning how to lift, to studying the material, dedicating yourself to this, becoming a coach, taking advantage of opportunities like you guys are offering at Houston. And then, when you get your credential, having these doors open for you where you're a head coach of your own gym and you do that for somebody else. And
Yeah.
that's really been that really, he must be your pride and joy. Oh, Chase, I hope you're
Oh
watching
yeah,
this.
Chase lived with us for a good while he was here. So he actually survived living with me while pregnant. Um, he was a wonderful house guest, but I'd always joke that people even think, I've got two husbands, or, I was like, I had you when I was, in my teens. my kid. We're
It
so proud
really
of
is a sense of family. It's such a sense
Oh
of
yeah.
family amongst the gyms, that when I talk to apprentices, I tell them, yes, you have to be determined and you have to be wise enough to see the opportunity in front of you, one that we didn't have. But you also have to be someone who, wants to join a family of sorts, because that's what these gyms are. And you get to make a difference in people's lives, and you have meaning, and it's just this wonderful experience, but you have to dedicate yourself to it. I know you guys have helped me out by preparing people for the platform through a short-term apprenticeship, but you've also had people long-term. You've had people who started off, as maybe members and then joined as apprentices, and then they start their journey. So there's really a lot of entries into this, and you guys are doing a great job that's really where your vision aligns with JD, the owner. I know that that's something he's very passionate about, is, we want to do coach development. We want to help make coaches. And I think that's really speaks to the quality of Starting Strength Houston, the quality of education there, and the quality of coaching there. And now Starting Strength Katy, next up. So you guys are growing quickly, just within a couple of years.
Yeah, we're quite excited, and JD is wonderful. I'll say we couldn't be in the most ideal situation, as far as having someone that's an owner, but also a partner. We work together well. We all, communicate well. We all want the same thing, is to do this. We want everybody to have access to Starting Strength. We want to develop more coaches so that, we have coaches to fill these gyms, and good high quality coaches. This is not about getting volume. This is about getting quality. Not everybody's going to make it, and that's okay. But we want everybody, whether you're with us for a few weeks, a few months, long term. We want to help develop these coaches for all the gyms.
And you guys you're doing a great job. They're getting quite the education by you, and they're very lucky to be there. I'm excited to see what the future is for Starting Strength Katy, and all the coaches who will come out of, your mentorship program. What do you see for yourself in the future as these gyms grow, as you grow as a coach and as a mom? I know Jameson is already running around the gym, and you're chasing him around there. If you, what do you envision for the next few years for yourself? What are your goals?
As he is when we found out we were pregnant, we moved down here, we kind of decided I would take some step back from coaching just to make him my priority. It's wonderful that I have the ability to be home with him. These are times that are so valuable, just to have this time with him and watch him grow. I think now if I were to have dropped him off at a daycare, that like all these things I'd be missing out, that, when I'm not here, I don't see all that stuff. So it's wonderful. As we expand, I hope to be able to offer myself for all the gyms. Really, I'll probably float between all the gyms, just as a female, to kind of help with the special cases, support the coaches as they needed. I go in now as needed now, for both the Houston and will for Katy. Sometimes you just have special requests for a woman, and so issues that come along. I hope to get some more female coaches, going. We need to get some more females coming in. This is kind of sometimes a little more fear with some of the women coming into the gym. I want to welcome them. We want some more women coaches. We want them getting more active in this. We've developed a few of them, and I'm excited for them to get out into the gyms.
You've held workshops as well for women, women's
Mhm.
workshops, I know, and they were
Yeah.
strength workshops, right?
Yeah, I just recently did one just to kind of talk with some of the women at the gym. We have a few cases at the gym with some um, incontinence and some issues, and just kind of taking a little time to discuss more privately, open in a more private setting, because it's not always something that women want to just bladder out into the middle of the class if there's more men in the class. But just want to make sure that they feel comfortable, they feel supported, that we're doing everything we can to help them progress and minimize those symptoms if they have issues, and just getting women together. We have a lot of people that don't cross because they're different classes in morning or evening, whatever, just kind of getting them together and we did a little lifting session together with everybody, which is always kind of fun. Kind of see where everybody's at and get a little bit of support from the other women in the gym.
And that's something that we need more of in the field of strength is, we need more women lifting, we need more women training, and we need more women supporting each other. So I think that there's incredible opportunity at Starting Strength Houston and Katie, and anybody who, would have the good fortune of apprenticing with you guys, would really, come into this community that obviously is well-rounded and really working to make everybody not just better physically, but emotionally as well, and to grow the female aspect of strength. I think it's an incredible opportunity for women and men to come on now and become apprentices and strive to get their credential. I tell everyone, you're so lucky. This is the best time to become a starting strength coach. The opportunities are abound.
Absolutely.
With people with your expertise and your background and your knowledge guiding them, they're set up for success. And I've always, admired you. I remember we met at a Brooklyn seminar, and I met you and Josh, and I was just like fascinated. You guys are super cool couple. You've given so much to this field, and I know so many women look up to you. It's an absolute honor to have you on the podcast. And I know that you and I will be coming back to talk women's issues in the future. So thank you for spending this time with me, Shelley. I'm so excited to see your future unfold. And I really hope that next time Jameson makes an appearance.
He's still asleep, doesn't he?
I know that you could not have sat with me this long if he was awake.
The computer would have been slapped down or touched, or he would have been all over it. And he is a very busy little boy right now, and he PR'd his squat this week. He squat 5 pounds.
Oh, I did see that. I saw him with the barbell. It's adorable. So Chase better watch out because he's coming for him.
He's coming. He's at 19 months. So I think we might beat Chase on that starting strength coach.
That's right. He's on the Go Mad diet already.
Yeah.
Shelley, you are incredible. Thank you for sitting with me today. And I look forward to having multiple discussions with you as your future unfolds.
Thank you.